So, hey, welcome back to our special show called...
Our very special show.
Called And That's Why We Drink. What?
Oh my god.
What?
I'm just opening my milkshake right now.
What?
Look how empty this fucker is. That's my whole milkshake. They gave me half a fucking cup.
There's just like a cherry in the middle.
That's literally...
Do you not eat the cherry?
No.
Can I please eat it?
Are you kidding me?
That's my favorite part.
Yeah, did you ever see How I Met Your Mother? We're doing the olive theory.
Oh my god! Which ended up being a lie, though.
Okay, well.
Remember?
I didn't finish the episode.
No, it was in the end of the series. It turns out the entire time, spoiler alert, the entire time Lily was pretending to not like olives.
That's love, though.
I know, because she knew how much he liked them, and like, so she played along for like 10 years.
I really hate maraschino cherries, so please eat them all the time.
Oh, I thought you were just doing it because you love me.
Oh, I was. Just kidding.
Thanks for that. All right, so guys, while Em drinks her tiny milkshake.
I'm pissed. This is going to take 3 spoonfuls.
It's a big-ass milkshake.
I'm a big-ass person.
If it were in a different cup, it would look like a big-ass milkshake.
Just do what you're supposed to say.
All right, we got our... Okay, Em and I had a moment last night because we got our first fan mail to our P.O. box.
Yep, we did.
And they sent me a little photo.
Also, do you want to, like, say our address or anything so we can get more?
I can triangulate something finally.
Oh, yeah.
1920 Hillhurst Avenue, number 1064, Los Angeles, California, 90027.
Yep.
I memorized it.
Good.
And then you have to address it to And That's Why We Drink.
Yeah, we definitely triangulated a location that you and Gio will be at some point. There
was an episode of My Favorite Murder where Georgia was like, I'm scared to go to my P.O. box because I don't want people to like be waiting for me.
I'd be cool with people waiting, just not the ones that want to kill us.
They'll definitely recognize Gio.
1,000%.
I don't want anyone waiting. If they're waiting for me, that they have a problem.
Okay, you heard it here first. She won't be impressed if you're there, so just stay home.
Unless you have gifts for me.
Okay. That's all it takes.
All right.
Or
so
wine.
We got, well, that counts. So we have this beautiful letter. It has like a purple paisley envelope, and it's from Utah.
It is from Utah.
We're going to open it. Oh, wow. Look at the card. It matches.
That's very immaculate.
It's very, oh,
there's 2 cards. One for me?
I wonder.
Is there one for me? I don't know why you're laughing.
Open it. That's for you. This one's for me.
How do you know? Okay, well, I won't read mine yet. Do yours first.
No, just open it.
You sure? Oh, that's really actually adorable.
Please
look at this. Happy late birthday, Em. And ransom. Someone literally cut out a magazine. I've always wanted someone to do this for me with not involving a kidnapping.
They wrote X-teen because they didn't want to write all the letters of my name.
Did they really? X-teen.
That's adorable.
That's...
Holy shit, what's this? What's this symbol?
I don't know what it means.
Oh my god.
Are we bad for not knowing? Are they gender signs?
It looks like it, but then there's a...
But then there's a cross.
Uh-oh. And an S? Is this a puzzle? Are we gonna die? Oh my god.
Is this actual a ransom?
Oh no.
We might have to crack a code.
Uh-oh, I think I triangulated a little too hard.
That's definitely a gender.
Yeah, that's... Which...
Because they're both...
wait, this is a gender too.
Yeah, they're both genders.
So then what's T and S?
T and S? Transsexual?
Maybe.
I don't know. Are we supposed to know? I'm scared.
Is someone blackmailing?
Oh, I don't know what to do.
Blaze, you have a Yale degree. Come here.
You're a doctor.
You need to come here.
He doesn't seem happy.
A lot of people would be thrilled to be on the podcast.
I don't think it means anything. I think they're just the random symbols that they decided to assemble.
What?
X. I'm scared. Who did this?
Okay, here's the other thing. They didn't put a name.
Maybe they did it just to freak you out, to make it look like Zodiac Killer stuff.
Oh, maybe it's a Zodiac Killer sign.
Oh, this is fun.
He has a Yale degree.
Wait, maybe it means that they're crossing out the 2 genders or something.
Fuck binaries?
Yeah.
Is that what it means?
Maybe?
I think we're looking at this from a social aspect.
I know. They're probably like, wait, this is not at all what was happening.
Could it have anything to do with the fact that it's happy late birthday?
Maybe.
Does it mean anything?
But it's the gender symbols are the only thing that we can, like, for sure make out.
I'm a piece of shit. I don't know which is the female one and which is the male one. What's the...
Blaze, which is the female one?
Hang on, no, I'll just look it up. I'll look it up.
The one that doesn't have a penis.
Huh?
The one that's erect is the boy?
Yes.
Oh, the one that goes down is the female?
The one that's standing is
Okay,
the
so
girl.
that's a man, that's a woman. Is it maybe, like, the person who made it, is that their, like, signature?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe we're just reading into it. Maybe this is, like, their own little thing that they do.
Maybe she's like, my name is Toos. I'm sure that's not right.
My name is male, female, TSX.
My name is male, female, TSX. That's for sure what it is.
Cracked it.
My brother will be like, you're dumb. This
Slip this under the door. Tell him we need his help.
Okay.
Should have done like some blood splatter on it.
He says in a couple minutes. All right. So this week I'm drinking 19 Crimes from Kirk, my dude.
I'm surprised you haven't finished it. Is it good?
I wanted to save it till like we were.
What's
recording.
it taste like? Does it taste?
It tastes
different?
It's called a dark red. It tastes
like blood.
It tastes good. It tastes better than the wine I buy.
Oh,
What are you drinking besides your tiny ass milkshake?
I'm drinking. I went to that diner again that I went to a while ago that had like the 50 milkshakes.
Wait, so was it different then? Did they give you a bigger milkshake then?
Yeah, they gave me an appropriately sized shake.
That's weird. Okay, first I want to do a quick special shout out to Derek because we accidentally left him out of last month's listeners patron shout out episode.
We're garbage.
I know.
Sorry,
and
Derek.
It was my fault because I was transferring all the names over. So
She's the one that color codes them, so I read all the colors that I was supposed to read.
I know. It's
Sorry.
not M's fault. It's my fault. I sent him an email to apologize. He's like, that's okay. And I was like,
Oh,
no,
what a
it's,
babe.
it's not okay. So Derek, sorry. Thank you for your support.
You know, that is fun that since you do so much of the work, you will also have most of the responsibility if we fuck up.
I take the blame.
He's entering.
Oh. Did you solve it? I slid it under your door.
Okay.
Do you want to guess what Blaze's guess was?
Yeah.
It was, oh, it probably doesn't mean anything. I'm like, what? That's the least likely scenario. Nobody
Like
would
a girl drew that twice.
like, there was a reason she drew it. She didn't just, like, color around for no reason.
How do you know it's a girl?
It's a girl.
If it's a
'Cause it
Zodiac
has-
killer.
That's what she said!
That's what Blaze said.
Oh, that's what Blaze said.
This is how Blaze gets no credit ever because everyone says I do things. I don't do anything.
Blaze's loud answer is, it doesn't mean anything. And then he whispers, maybe it's a Zodiac. So, nobody knows what Blaze thinks.
Maybe it's her family seal.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Well, now all the listeners are interested, and then once it's revealed,
Oh my god, we should do, like, a crack the code.
and then it'll be something really inappropriate or really offensive.
It's probably like,
really
it means
bad.
eggplant dick. Like,
It's probably like, I hate transgender people.
I hate this podcast.
I hate you and
Oh,
Christine.
that's, yeah, the most offensive.
I hate any male and or female who is involved in this podcast. All right, yeah, maybe we'll have like a crack the code special. Anyway,
Christine, remember in our first episode when we were like, let's be really quiet and hide everyone, and now the dog and Alex and Blaze are all out here eating and watching TV,
and I'm
and
forcing them to talk into the microphone.
we've really lost our game.
We've lost our finesse from the early episodes.
Welcome to, and that's why we drink.
He has so much.
But this was his debut.
He has so much popcorn in his mouth, and I smell it on my face now because he just leaned in.
Starring Alexander Schiefer. Are you?
Welcome to the second episode of the Newlywed Game.
There you go.
Aw.
Look, he's got
Adam and
it.
Christine.
He's got it. Are you okay?
I had to swallow my popcorn.
Okay.
Why are you drinking again?
Oh, because so I'm not going to say the name, but there's a deodorant company out there that has been getting a lot of lawsuits.
Dub, degree, axe.
I'm not saying I don't want to like get sued, but like they had like this huge outbreak of, I guess, a lot of people were saying that they were getting chemical burns from it.
Oh, like the rashes or
yeah.
whatever.
So I got that. So
It's supposed to suck.
it does suck. It does suck so bad. Like it's like bad.
Wait, afterward you have to tell me because I just bought new deodorant. You have to tell me.
No, I know you don't wear this deodorant.
Oh, because you saw my deodorant?
Yeah.
In the bathroom.
And I've smelt you before. We don't wear the same deodorant.
I've smelled you. Okay, fine. All right.
And he doesn't either because I've been in your bathroom, not because I smell him.
Blaze doesn't like wear deodorant because he somehow doesn't smell bad ever.
Yeah, a million
I know.
reasons.
Listen.
Let's just put that on the
I
list
have
of
to
why
buy
he's perfect.
clinical strength deodorant And my boyfriend's like, I won't wear it today. And I'm like, fuck you.
Nah, I'll just walk in the breeze and see what happens.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I'm dealing with right now. So I researched it for a while. I was like, what the fuck is going on with my armpits? And I had to Google it, and I found out that there was like all these cases, and I was like, oh shit. So now I haven't bought new deodorant yet. And so like today I was like, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. So I didn't wear deodorant today. So like I feel stinky. I don't. I like keep checking, but I just
But there's
like
that
feel
feeling,
gross.
I know, you get that feeling of like, I forgot something. Like, yeah.
I just feel, so I keep like checking, but I think I'm good.
You want to know why I drink?
Why do you drink?
I drink because I was on my birthday. I was at the Two Girls One Pup show, and this girl and her friend walk in, and I go, "Hi, are you here for the show?" And they both kind of look at me, and as I'm like finishing my sentence, I realize it's Aubrey Plaza.
Oh, really?
As in, like,
Yeah.
from Parks and Rec, etc. And then she just goes, I just wanted to buy some dog food. Like, can I buy some dog food? I was like, yes, please. Like, the store's still open. We're just hosting a comedy show. And she's like, okay, and just walked past.
That must have been the weirdest thing for her to have walked into if you're not aware.
Totally. And I like didn't realize who it was, so I was like, are you here for the show? And there's like all these dogs, and she's like, what the fuck is going on?
Because it's literally a pet store.
It's in a pet store.
It's like going to PetSmart, and there's now like a red carpet and a comedy show happening.
Yeah. Like,
so she was probably like, what the fuck is going on?
She's like, I just go to this pet store every week to get my dog food, and now there's like Kyle Kinane is performing.
Nice to know that she's a celebrity who goes out and does her own errands.
Yes, and she also wasn't wearing any makeup and everything, and I was like, oh.
Good for her.
She looked great.
Like a normal person.
The other reason I drink is that I quit my job. I know we said this last time, but
It's official now?
it's official. It's my last Friday on the job. I have 3 more days, and then I'm going to focus on this fucking podcast, guys. I have a whole list of stuff I'm going to discuss with them about our Patreon page. No spoilers, but there's a lot of cool shit that I think we're going to plan for you guys. People who are already donating, there's more coming, and people who want to donate, like,
Your
get
money's going
ready.
to a good place, because we have a lot of ideas.
So many ideas.
We just currently can't afford many of them. So we're picking and choosing
brainstorming
currently.
Yeah, so we're creating all sorts of cool new stuff. I have like a whole list of brainstorming ideas that Em and I are going to have a production meeting and come up with new Patreon ideas. To everyone who's written in iTunes reviews, thank you. If you guys could just leave us a review, it takes like a minute, if that, and it really, really, really helps us in iTunes rankings. And that's my only promotion for right now. So that's all.
I have no updates.
We love you guys. So now, I guess, now that we've just wasted everyone's time for a while, do you want to tell your story?
Yeah. Let me crack it open.
Oh, you were so close. You almost said your catchphrase.
I know. I heard it. I heard it happen. Like a pirate, Christine just pulled the cork out of her bottle with her teeth.
At least it's a bottle with a cork.
What are you drinking? We already talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay. I almost just like went right into these notes. I almost just like said the first bullet without actually introducing it at all. I was like,
On October 8th.
in 1883. Okay, so I'm doing a place that was recommended by a couple people. It's called the Waverly Hills Sanitorium.
Oh my God, people have been
Yeah, people have been talking about this.
like tweeting about it and Facebooking about it.
All right. So the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. I should probably know, but I
I
don't.
like how you look at me.
Yeah, I'm like, what is it?
Sanitarium.
Sanitarium.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
But also maybe Sanatorium.
Waverly Hills. That's what we're going to call it.
It sounds like a country club.
I got it written somewhere in here. We'll find out.
Sanatorium, I was wrong. It's Sanatorium.
Interesting. Okay. So the story begins in 1883.
It was a dark and stormy night.
Okay. Well, no, it wasn't. So Waverly Hill was a plot of land, and it was purchased by Thomas Hayes in 1883 for him and his family. And since the new home was so far away from existing schools, he decided to open it as a local school for his daughters to attend. So it was a one-room schoolhouse, and he hired one woman named Lizzie Harris to be the teacher. And since she wanted to really teach English, she was really passionate about these novels called Waverly novels, written by Walter Scott. And so she named the school the Waverly School after the novel she wanted to teach. Oh. So Major Hayes liked how peaceful sounding it was, which is the opposite of what it became.
Yeah, I was going to say foreshadowing.
So he named the property Waverly Hill. So it was the Waverly School was on Waverly Hill.
Gotcha.
So this was in the 1880s, so it was right around the early 1900s, and that was when tuberculosis was really big.
Oh, God.
AKA the White Death, AKA the White Plague, AKA consumption.
As we learned.
And
As you learned.
as I learned. So this was the Waverly Hill. I should have said was in like Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, that was my next question.
Yeah. So that was also
It's
like
actually pronounced Louisville. Louisville.
in Kentucky. So in that area, it was a lot of swamplands, which meant like perfect breeding ground for the bacteria of tuberculosis at the time. So that whole town was like, it got hit really hard with tuberculosis. So a lot of people got sick there. So pretty much right away, the school ended up becoming a hospital.
Oh, God.
So the board of tuberculosis, I guess there's a board for that.
Sure.
They ended up buying out the Waverly School because there was something that was happening where a hospital that was getting built in the city, but they made some law that they didn't have to recognize like serious cases of tuberculosis patients because I guess either they were a lost cause or they were more of an inconvenience because they would get other people sick, something like that.
Ooh.
And so instead, there was a grant to the board of $25,000 where they could go build another facility for like the really bad cases. So that way they were all kind of quarantined in another
They
area.
just like put them somewhere else.
Yeah. So to try to contain the disease, they bought the Waverly School and also built a 2-story wooden sanatorium.
Got it.
Originally, it housed 20 patients, and eventually, once they used the $25,000 and built it up, they were able to fit 40 patients as of 1912. But in 1914, a new section was created for children patients and patients of children because once you had tuberculosis, you really couldn't take care of your kids.
Oh. Wait, what do you mean patients of children?
Yeah, like the patients, like tuberculosis patients couldn't take care of their kids anymore, so they had a section for those kids to like live, essentially.
Oh, you mean children of patients?
Yeah. So they had that whole new area, and eventually the full capacity of the sanatorium was 140 patients. And Waverly Hills, because remember from the last story where we talked about consumption, which was the Stanley Hotel?
Yep.
Because the biggest cure at that time was just fresh air.
Sure.
So the Waverly Hills was so far away from everyone that their whole they considered the whole plot of land the property of the sanatorium, but it was so big that it had its own zip code.
Oh, shit.
Fun fact, it was a self-contained community, but it had its own post office, water treatment facility. It grew its own fruits and vegetables, and it raised its own meat for slaughtering. And
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was like its own community.
Holy shit.
But the downside to that was once you were on that land, you could never leave because you were surrounded by really sick people.
You were quarantined.
It was basically a death sentence. You could live there and never had to go anywhere else, but it's because you weren't allowed to.
So, who else lived there? Like nurses?
It was just hospital staff and employees. And then patients.
You were an unlucky hospital staff who had to work there. Oh.
But also, I like to think of it as LA interns, where it's I'll be quarantined with the tuberculosis patients.
Sure.
Please give me a job.
I got a job working in medicine.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to roll with it.
Ugh.
So in 1924, due to constant repairs and they just needed more space so they could house more people, construction began for it to become a 5-story building.
Jeez.
Which happened in 1926, and it was able to hold more than 400 patients.
Oh, shit.
So that was the final number of patients that were housed there.
Yeah.
And although the hospital tried to help its patients with several different sorts of medical methods at the time, a lot of them, of course, were inhumane.
Ugh.
So one of them was, I guess, to help put fresh air in their lungs.
Oh, no.
It's nothing like the last story, so we're good.
Nothing's like
LaLaurie.
the LaLaurie
Mansion.
Nothing. That's a dark spot in our
Honestly,
history.
I did that just to desensitize you enough that this won't mean anything at this
Okay.
point. So
I have a guess of what it is.
patients' lungs were exposed to ultraviolet light to try and stop the spread of bacteria. So they would put you in sunrooms, which were artificial light in place of sunlight.
Uh-huh.
So if it was dark, they would still keep you in bright light so your body would think you were in fresh air. But you ended up just going crazy because you could never sleep.
Oh, they didn't like literally expose your lungs like you.
They
like,
exposed you.
Oh, I thought they were gonna cut them open and expose their lungs or something. I was like,
Also,
so it's like a tanning bed forever. Like you
Yes.
live in a tanning bed.
yes.
Okay,
And
that's healthy.
patients were placed in front of windows or open porches to get fresh air, like 24/7.
That's awful.
No, but 24/7, no matter the season. So there's a lot of old photographs that show the patients in chairs while literally covered in snow. So
What
like,
as if that's gonna help your
it's freshest. It's the freshest air. It's
immune,
pure white snow.
your immune disease.
Right, yeah. And so other treatments that were involved, this one's kind of fucked up, but they inserted balloons into the lungs
Oh my god.
and then filled the balloon with air so they would, underneath the lungs, help expand the lungs so that the lungs would be more open so you could breathe more air in. But there's a fucking balloon in the way. Like, no one thought about that.
Is that a thing? Does that work?
No, actually, someone actually had a collapsed lung because of it.
Oh, fuck. I was gonna say, it seems like
In the 1800s, maybe that actually was a
Sure.
really smart idea.
it seems almost like sensible in a way.
But they also were doing it to a point where they were breaking people's ribs.
Yeah, no,
because
no.
like the lungs were inflating so much that
Oh,
before
no.
the lung could puncture, the
And
rib
P.S.
was
I
being
would never
broken.
let someone put a balloon in my lung, but
Also, it's one thing to like break your rib from the outside in, but like the inside out. It's
Oh
just like
my-
a Freddy Krueger.
and collapsing your lung. Okay,
So operations involved muscles and ribs being removed so that they could expand the lungs even further than necessary. Other patients suffered electroshock therapy, typical.
Oh, right. Because
And
why not?
other experimental surgeries, including intentional lung collapsing, because apparently they thought they could revive it in time.
What the fuck?
They would also put heavy sandbags on the patient's chests to keep them in the same position for several hours instead of trying to move.
What?
Just things like that.
That didn't even make sense.
I don't.
As if I'm expecting any of this to
In
make
the
sense.
1800s, I could have been a doctor and been like, "Let's all eat candy," and they'd be like, "Woohoo!"
Yeah, that's
What's that? Robin Williams? Patch Adams?
yeah, Patch Adams.
Well, also that's a fucking clown, so I would be Patch Adams.
oh my god, basically that was you in a past life.
Except my movie wouldn't suck.
Except you weren't like, what? That was a great movie.
I didn't like it.
It actually
I
made,
think it reminded me too much of myself.
It made me cry a lot, so maybe that's why. It was
Oh.
very sad.
Yeah.
Because he died. Spoiler.
Spoiler. There you go. So on the property, there was an underground tunnel. This is the cool part.
Of course, there's always
always a tunnel.
I love the tunnels.
On the property, there was an underground tunnel that led from the entrance to the bottom of a steep 500-foot hill. From the entrance? Did I read that right?
But, sure.
Yeah, from the entrance, and then there was a hill. Well, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out because I'm about to explain it better.
We have a whiteboard. Do you want to draw me a diagram?
No, like so basically, before I finish my notes, basically it was used during the winter to gather supplies without having to go down the hill to have to lug it back up, or to expect cars of that time to have to go up icy hills and bring you the supplies. So they had like a cable system through this tunnel that would bring everything up to the hill for you.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, I'm probably about to just repeat that. Yeah, staff used it to receive supplies in the winter, and coal too, because it didn't have heaters back then.
Sure.
And it also was easier to get more supplies at one time instead of having to do small trips.
Right, and then nobody had to go into the actual.
And also because it was underground, and during the winter, the people who were on either end of the hall, like, they didn't have to actually really go outside. They just had to like stand by the tunnel and drag things, and it just like kept everyone warm, especially when they were sick. And then again, the staff gets to stay inside
Yeah.
the tunnel to stay warm, but we're going
Wait.
to put all of our patients out on the snowy porch.
I was like, they didn't get the same health benefits as all the people
Right.
lying under a snowbank.
So this tunnel specifically became known as the Death Tunnel,
Oh, good.
or the Body Chute,
Well, that's fun.
because not only was it a loading dock for supplies, but it became a loading dock for the patient's corpses.
Dun dun dun.
In the tunnel, doctors and morticians would also prepare the bodies and drain them.
No.
Because at that time, they thought if you basically disemboweled and totally basically wrung the body out of any liquids, it put all the bacteria. It got rid of all the bacteria, so you were just throwing the body away without spreading the disease.
Oh no, Mike.
But if you wrung, listen to this. They were wringing all these bodies out and basically juicing them. And guess where they were putting it? In the sewer.
Em, that's disgusting.
In the septic tanks.
That's disgusting.
Anyway, enjoy not catching tuberculosis.
That's fucked up.
To be continued. My whole microphone almost fell. That was my slow motion
What
falling
was that?
because that was me going whoa, but in slow motion, like whoa.
Is that what it's not? Oh, okay.
I mean, that wasn't intentional, but it worked out.
I liked it.
So the doctors and morticians would prepare the bodies, drain them, and put them in caskets. So they would then be loaded onto waiting trains at the bottom of the hill to be sent to funeral homes.
Ugh.
Or to crematoriums. If the bodies began to stack up because it was so cold out that new loads weren't coming in regularly and the bodies were literally stacking up, they would just cremate them there on the spot without preparing them. Would literally just set them on fire in a giant pile.
God.
They would cremate them before they would actually be able to ship them to a proper crematorium. And it was done down here. Not only was the cremating done down there, but the whole preparing a dead body and loading it out to the hill. They did all of that downstairs on purpose so that none of the patients upstairs who were sick would have to see everyone's bodies because they were trying to like keep them encouraged.
Morale?
For morale, really, literally to boost morale.
Oh, fuck. I mean, at least they tried.
Well, I guess because one of their methods to get them better is to keep them outside all the time. Through this tunnel, they could put them onto the trains without, if anyone was outside and looking, they still couldn't see the caskets being loaded in.
There wasn't like a pile of
like
bodies on fire.
You just never had to see the bodies.
Oh, good.
And the majority of the hospital's patients ended up going through the death tunnel. They
Going through the death tunnel.
went down the body chute.
That is just so dark.
So it was in 1943. That's all the history of it, but I'm just going to like catch up to where we are now in the world. So that came out in 1926 was the beginning of like the big 400 person hospital. And then in 1943, the invention of streptomycin came out, which was basically like a cure-all for TB, or at least it was the beginning of a cure-all. And so tuberculosis started declining really drastically, and there was no need for a hospital anymore. So it was open for another like 15 years or so, and then by 1960, the hospital closed. And then they dabbled with it being a couple other things, but the only real thing that stayed for a while was it became a geriatric nursing home.
Oh, boy.
And I guess a lot of those patients were also abused and they were neglected, and electroshock was still being used on some of them because most of the people in that nursing home had dementia, and so they thought electroshock therapy would bring their memory back.
Oh, I mean, that's like elder abuse is one of those things that
It's just so sad.
it's just the darkest thing.
We could really have a dark conversation about that in private
yeah.
sometime, because I could get into that.
Me too. Let's do it if you want a bonus episode on the dark,
I thought you were going to say if we get through this fast enough, my reward is we get to hang out and talk.
No, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you can get a reward of listening to a dark episode on geriatric abuse. You're welcome.
Yeehaw! Thanks for giving us your money. Okay, so it stayed at geriatric home for a little bit, and then due to all of the neglect and abuse, it ended up shutting down real quick. Like,
Thank God.
within like 10, 15 years.
Wow.
Actually, no, more like 20 years, but still it was gone.
Yeah.
So then by the 80s, there were all these ideas for it to become a minimum security prison. They thought it could become a bunch of apartments. And like they were trying all these things, but nobody wanted to donate the money to it. So they always ended up falling short, and the plans ended up getting scrapped.
Right.
So by 1990, it was just abandoned. A lot of squatters were in there. One homeless man actually was sleeping in the building, and two teenage boys who were involved in the occult, of course, entered the building, murdered him in the name of Satan, and threw his body down an empty elevator chute.
What the fuck?
He also had a dog with him. I was wondering if I should even bring that up. There was no information about the dog, for the record. That dog might have left. He might have gotten out of there the second he sensed trouble. So in 1996... someone bought it. His name was Robert Alberhasky.
Yeah.
And he and his church bought Waverly Hills to construct the world's tallest statue of Jesus on the site, along with like an arts and worship center.
It's about time.
I've been waiting, actually.
It's about time somebody
Where can I find Jesus the biggest?
Somebody does some good around there.
So once again, there was not enough to donate that. Well, keep in mind, he wanted like a state-of-the-art worship center and church, and then wanted to do all these, like, wanted to make a park so they could have all their like.
So it wasn't just a statue of Jesus.
No, it was like a full church plan. Like they wanted the land to become all church activities. It was a $12 million project.
Holy crap.
And they ended up saying no thanks. So they dropped that in 97. Although now these days with mega churches, they could bring that back now.
Oh, those things exist in where I'm from for sure.
Mm-hmm. So then it stayed abandoned again. And as of 2001, it was sold to a couple who now hold tours there. And it's like they do like the haunted house attraction during Halloween. And all the proceeds go to restoring the property.
Wow.
And they plan on turning the facility into a haunted bed and breakfast.
I was about to say, I guarantee it's a bed and breakfast.
It's
haunted.
going to be. And they currently, I thought this was the coolest part, they currently host laser light shows during Christmas. So if you guys have seen like the YouTube videos of like a house and like all the windows going crazy, like you don't actually go in there for the laser light show. You stand outside and the entire thing lights up through the windows.
Do they have like the music?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool.
So they hold laser light shows during Christmas. So anyway, that's all the history, and that's what they still currently do. I checked, and they like have tickets right now for their Christmas light show starts this Thanksgiving.
I only live a couple hours from Louisville. If you want to come home and
Louisville,
see it with me.
Aww,
It's a date.
That'd be
Oh
fun.
my God! Someday when it's a haunted bed and breakfast, we should go.
One day when we get enough Patreon donators and they fund us traveling around looking at haunted houses together,
Yeah.
with like a half wine tour, half haunted tour.
When we don't tell anybody that we're using their money to.
Do you realize how many like perfect dates we'll be going on together?
Oh my God!
It'll be adorable.
I don't know if you never responded, but I put a on our Twitter.
I saw.
I put a poll.
I intentionally ignored it because here's what's going on.
Can I explain what it is first?
Maybe.
Okay.
If I stay quiet long enough.
Thank you. I put a poll on Twitter and I said, should M take Christine on?
There's a bug in here.
M just spit her milkshake up.
That's a full bug. That's a bug.
There's a bug?
Yeah, it's moving.
Let me see.
I mean, it's like a gnat or a fly. I'm sure it's brand new because there's no actual ice cream on it.
Do you want me to get him out?
I'm not gonna drink that thing now, Christine.
It's just a bug.
No.
It's like a fruit fly.
I don't want it. I didn't even. I was
All right,
already
I was
mad
going
from
to
the
drink
start.
it, but it's root beer. I don't like root beer.
And I spit in it.
Okay, let me save the bug though. Hang on.
Oh my god.
He didn't do anything wrong.
He ate my milkshake. He's a bitch. He's a bitch. He's covered in milkshake. I don't think he can fly anymore. Just kill him. Just kill him, Christine. He would have been...
There he goes.
Ew, now he's going to fly around, and I'm going to be pissed. I never thought of you as the gnat saving kind of person. I'm kind of grossed out.
It's alive.
I don't want him to be alive. That's not good news. Don't show him to me. He was in my milkshake. Just flick him. He'll figure it out. Push him out the nest.
Hang on.
Blow on him. Ugh, Christine, why are you even...
Come on, little one.
This whole time a bug is just sitting on your fucking finger and you're not even grossed out.
No, it's a gnat. It's not like a bug.
It's got furry legs.
There he goes.
Did
Furry
you
legs?
Under a microscope, he has furry legs.
Under a microscope, you have furry legs.
Probably true.
Oh, snap. I went there.
Meaning the follicle, I guess.
My legs are
Marginally.
hairy without a microscope, so...
Gross!
What? It's so gross!
Are you one of those people who doesn't shave your legs too?
No, I'm just lazy half the time.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Do I need to shave my legs?
No, you
around
don't. I'm learning about
I-
how you save bugs. You
Am
might
I
also be one of those people.
Am I one of the... Are you one of those people?
I wouldn't have. I judge you more for the bug thing. You could have the longest hair on your legs, and I would judge you less than the
I
bug
don't care if
thing.
people shave their... I think it's stupid that women have to shave all their hair, but whatever.
Go save a bug or something.
Been there, done that.
I've never saved a bug, and I never plan to.
What's wrong with you?
Nothing. Okay, so here's all the ghost stuff.
Okay. Wait, there was something that was happening.
Yeah, and then you decided to say.
I was telling a story, and then you spit your milkshake
Oh, you did
up.
say something. What did you say? If I keep my mouth shut long enough.
You literally spit up so that I would stop talking.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
conjured a bug.
Hello, everyone. We're back. I rescued a bug, and M's not happy about it. Also, I made this poll on Twitter called "Should M take Christine on a paranormal investigation?" And the options were yes, of course, and definitely yes. And there were 66 results, and they all said
How did that happen?
either yes, of course, or definitely yes, that M should take Christine on a paranormal investigation. And M refused to acknowledge any of it.
Give me your pinky.
Are you sure?
Christine, look in my
We
eyes.
have to take Alexis because she's been asking me every day.
Then I can't even give you the pinky promise I was
Why?
going to do. I was going to say it's a Friday night. We can literally
You
go
didn't.
tonight.
I asked you on our sleepover to bring your EMF reader. Guess what you didn't bring?
Christine, it's Friday. Do you want to have a sleepover and we can go right now? We won't be out long. If we do this...
Wait, out. Where are we going?
This isn't...
Finish your story.
So is it yes or no?
My brain isn't even functioning there yet. Can we do it here in my apartment? I don't want to leave the apartment.
What do you want us to do with it? Just
I
sit
want to
here?
play Ouija board.
No, Christine.
You said you'd bring your EMF reader. You did not bring it, so
I will literally go get it.
Can I make the decision after we finish to see how long it takes us to finish?
Yes.
Because at this rate, we're not going to get out of here by midnight.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Here are the ghosts. So the first one is there's a man in a white coat named Joseph.
Ew.
I know. I hate the name too.
A man in a white coat.
Well, so he was a doctor there. So he had like
to take you away.
He had the white coat, like a doctor.
Oh, Blaze has a white coat.
Oh, ew.
had
Is
a
his
white-
name Joseph too?
How did you? Yeah.
Gross.
He had a white coat ceremony.
Oh, did you go? Mm-hmm. So sweet.
Let's kill it.
Okay. So he was a doctor who contracted tuberculosis from his patients. Great.
That would suck, dude.
If Blaze ever has a patient with TB, run away.
Far, far away.
He is known to wander the halls near the surgery room, and that's because he died mid-surgery where they were also removing his ribs to give his lungs a chance to heal after inflating and getting so swollen.
Oh, God.
But he died during the surgery, no surprise, and is often seen in the building, especially when it's dark. Like if people bring flashlights or anything like that, he doesn't show up. But you'll still feel him around. You can like feel a presence. But when you turn off the lights and he knows you're like super susceptible and vulnerable, that's when he usually shows. But you can see him clear as day. Like I was reading a couple like personal experience what's like I guess
Accounts?
not really, yeah. And there was one guy who's been on a lot of investigations, so he usually knows when his eyes are playing tricks on him,
right?
But he saw clear as day, like a black shadow in a white coat walking through walls and looking at him. It's pretty creepy.
The creepy thing is that white coat somehow is just so spooky to see that in the dark.
Well, it's weird to see a ghost in uniform.
Right. Ooh.
I think.
Oh.
It's like you just imagine they're all kind of wafting around, but when you've got something...
It's not just like
part of our world.
A shadow. It's like it has a coat on.
It has a purpose.
Well, that's like the Stanley where you said that it was like the military coming in a battalion at you.
No, that was Deirdre at Harper's Ferry.
Oh, yeah. That was her story. Yeah.
Also freaking terrifying.
Creepy.
So on the third floor, there's a little girl with a face that has no eyes, and she runs up to you and through you.
That's out of that fucking Sinister movie or some shit.
That actually is.
It's like out of one of those movies that you invent. Like
I know.
Terrifying.
So then there's also a little boy named Timmy who was 6 or 7 when he died in the hospital, but he used to play with this leather ball all the time, like this bouncy ball. And a bouncy ball. But now he's seen with a leather ball, and he just like plays with it. And a lot of visitors will bring him toys to like invite him to play. And visitors will see a ball roll down the hallway out of nowhere and then like land at your feet. And then when you turn around and look back, it's gone.
That's creepy.
And then when you turn around and look back, it's there again. Like it'll keep like disappearing and reappearing.
Ew, that's...
Or the ball will follow you. Like if you see it at your feet and you walk away, like half an hour later, it'll roll out of another hallway at your feet.
Oh, that's so creepy. That's my friends.
It's Grease Live.
Hello. It's John Travolta.
So there's also a hearse, like a phantom hearse that
Great.
appears in the back of the building, and it drops off and leaves caskets.
Ew.
So like you can see the thing leave coffins there and then drive away, and you can see the coffins still sitting there, and then they'll slowly fade out of your sight.
Ew.
And that's from it happens right where the death tunnel is. So I guess they used to leave the caskets there to be able to put the bodies in for them to load. You can also smell cooking. It's usually the smell of fresh baked bread.
That kind of a haunting I'm down with.
Down with that.
You know, it's like, I smell
If
fresh.
I die and your kitchen smells like brownies, you're fucking welcome.
I'm going to smell milkshakes and...
Also, it would also still be a fuck you because you'd smell really good brownies, but there wouldn't be any.
Fair. Fair point.
That's where I get you.
But I'd rather have that than like a man in a white coat or a girl with no eyeballs coming at me.
Maybe every now and then I'll just throw a coat at you.
You'll just remove your eyes and run toward me. Which I don't like at all.
Okay. Solid. I'll put that in the books.
In what books?
Like my to-do list of things I plan to do when I die first. And
like you'll put it on the
out
book.
of you.
Got you. Okay, good.
So there's also moving shadows, obviously, cold spots, unexplainable screams and wailings, slamming doors, typical stuff. There's also the strange sounds and eerie footsteps, but there's loud banging from nowhere only when you're alone. And you can be in one room and another person can be in another room on another floor, and they'll both hear the banging at the same time. So like they'll walk at each other and be like, I'm hearing banging right next to me, and they'll be like, me too. But they're the only two people in the whole building.
Why are there anybody alone, and why are you doing that?
Because I think they're braver than us.
Obviously.
So then there's balls of light that literally get thrown at you.
Oh, good.
Like energy balls will just get thrown at you and try to like hit you. I don't know what happens when they hit you, but they do. There's also lights in the windows as if power's running through the building, which is a lot like Slaughter Pen.
Yeah.
And objects are thrown at visitors. So one of the accounts I read, this guy saw the guy in the white coat and then tried to follow him. And then all of a sudden he heard this loud growl and he was trying to run away. And he saw something at the corner of his eye, like fly past him and like heard like a clank against the wall. And he looked down to see what passed him, and it was a fucking brick. Like someone threw a brick at him and almost hit him. Which is better aim than I have, and I'm alive.
What?
And I have muscles. Well, not a lot of those, but I have more than a ghost. I have like an arm,
I just want you to keep explaining.
I have an arm.
All the things that you have.
I have torque and physics behind me.
I have a muscle. Well, some muscle. Well,
not-
like a muscle. I have an arm.
I have like a space where muscle should be.
I'm like alive.
One day it might fill itself. Also, people get punched in the face by invisible forces, and spirit clouds will just appear in front of you and then vanish. Like
So what the fuck is a spirit cloud?
Like they'll just like mist clouds.
And they'll punch you in the face?
Maybe. I don't know if they're like related. Can you imagine if you just see this beautiful mist forming and almost you just get knocked out?
It like sucks you and then
clocked in the face. So one of the main rooms is called room 502, which is apparently where a lot of nurses died. So one nurse was stabbed to death by a patient.
What? Wait. Oh, I thought you meant of TV. Suddenly she's being stabbed to death.
Yeah, this is real.
The fuck?
Another nurse named Mary Hillenburg, who allegedly hung herself because she was hooking up with a doctor who got her knocked up and then didn't want to take responsibility like a typical man.
Fucking male privilege. Let's talk about it.
You and your big old penises.
Listen.
Well, little penises.
Yeah,
Well,
don't
any size.
don't compliment them. Listen. If you donate to our Patreon,
What the fuck?
you can hear an episode of where we talk about male privilege and all the sizes of penises.
When are we doing that?
Well, because we already did one on geriatric abuse. So I figured,
we haven't done it yet. You're just telling me now we're going to have the conversation.
Yeah. If you guys want to hear about it.
I can talk about penises.
Oh my God, we're going to lose every donation we've ever gotten tonight.
I mean, I'm not saying it'll be accurate considering I have zero experience,
I've had way too much wine.
but I can guess.
Oh boy.
I can guess, and we'll see how that goes.
We can hear what Em thinks about penises. That's it, folks. Is that
Okay.
worth your Patreon?
Thanks for
I'm
volunteering.
sorry. I'm drinking too much. It's Friday. Keep going.
Okay, so this is important. Another nurse named Mary Hillenburg hung herself because doctor got her pregnant, didn't want to marry her, so she either hung herself on a pipe in the bathroom, or she jumped off a building. We don't know which one.
Ugh.
But the main one is that she hung herself. That's the one that they would tell you on the tour.
That's
that she hung herself.
heartbreaking.
And then
While she was pregnant?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And then there's another version where the doctor didn't want her to have the baby at all, so tried to have an abortion and then fucked up the abortion and then just killed her to cover up his story.
Well, I was worried there was an abortion involved too, but all of this is just equally bad. Mm-hmm. Well, and then you think but think about it. She was stuck in this place because
she couldn't leave the community.
Leave and go back to her family if she's pregnant.
Right.
She's stuck there.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then another nurse jumped from the top of the building right above room 502. So there's a lot of nurses dying there. Mm-hmm. So in room 418, 2 patients named Elizabeth and Jane, I guess, were best friends, and they both had tuberculosis and were dying.
Oh, my God.
And they made a pact that whoever died first would contact the other. This is literally us. We literally just had this conversation.
You just said you'd bake brownies and then come at me with no eyeballs.
Well, I agreed to half of that.
Okay.
But I would definitely show up in a mist and then punch you in the face.
Oh, yeah, that one. That's a good one.
They promised they would show up by appearing in the facility, in the room that they were in. So that room is now a hotspot for activity, too. So people say that they've seen an old woman whose legs and hands are chained, bleeding, running, and screaming at you.
Wait, what?
I guess they were held down.
Wait.
I don't really know what's going on.
Oh, this sounded like a fun, we're best friends. Let's contact each other. Now
But now they're both dead, so they don't have to prove it to anyone. So I guess they turned into evil ghosts, and they're just chained and chasing people.
Good. Well, maybe that was their pact. They were like,
let's make that our pact.
That would be more fun.
Yeah.
Let's scare the shit out of
whoever
people.
dies first, we will haunt the other until the other one goes. But then when we're both dead, we will team up in the other realm and start haunting everyone else.
Oh, yeah. We'll scare the shit out of Blaze.
Can't wait.
Oh, and then when Geo dies, we'll all just...
But that's the thing. Geo will never die.
Well...
Because I can't accept that.
But when Geo dies, I'll die at the same time, so...
Right. I have a broken heart, 1,000%. Sure. I'm there with you. So
told,
maybe we'll all die together.
Right. I've told Blaze many times I'm going to jump off a bridge when Geo dies. And he thinks he's like, that's not a funny joke. And I'm like...
Like, where's the joke?
Yeah, no, it's not a joke. And I know I shouldn't say that, but I can't comprehend it any other way, so...
This is the closest thing you've had to a child.
Oh,
so...
yeah. I will love him more than any child I ever had, to be quite honest.
I hope your children hear this one day.
I do too. They need to understand.
Dear future children, I love a dog more than you. Good luck living.
As I drink my wine. They're like, yes.
Good luck adjusting well on Earth.
You know they're in therapy already.
Oh, 1,000%. So in room 18, on that whole floor, on the 4th floor, there's also loud crashes. Thermal detectors have picked up shapes of full-bodied people moving around. There's a distinct sense of being watched wherever you go, but watched incredibly close on you. Some shadows are intelligent and dimensional enough to be able to see looking around corners. You can see them bend around corners.
Ew.
And they will look directly at people who shout at them, which is the fucking crazy. They're supposed to ignore you like you don't matter, but then all of a sudden they go boom.
That gives me chills.
That gave me chills too.
That's creepy.
That's the worst. Also, if I saw a ghost, I would not shout at it. But if I did, I would hope it wouldn't actually hear me because it kind of doesn't have ears, right?
It's supposed to just
but its soul hears you. Ugh. And then it goes, what do you want?
And then it notices you as a person.
I'm like...
I know, me too. I'm losing my mind right now.
So, blah, 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 blah. Oh. Everything that has ever happened at the Waverly Hills, or everything as far as we can go back about the ghosts that haunt the place have all been confirmed by the security personnel who are still on the grounds now.
Oh, no.
And they all say, they are willingly admitting that the building is haunted. They have seen, little Timmy, roll balls down the hallway. They've seen the shadows of, the white coat man. They've seen the girls running through the halls. They've seen things get thrown at people. They've seen the lights as if there's electricity flowing through the place. They've seen it all, and they say there's nothing that we deny.
It's always the employees. They know.
Yeah,
if they say it, it's they see something.
It's they have to be there 8 hours a day.
And they don't want to be, so it's not like they're looking for it.
There's also just a couple... people have had bricks thrown at them to avoid going into certain rooms. And puddles in the building, because remember... it was such an open space because they needed all the fresh air in there for the patients. So a lot of the building was built to be open, so there weren't a lot of doors and walls on these places, and since they never really restored it, there's still all these openings that are just straight out into nature, so leaves get in, water gets in, all that stuff. So they had, if it rains and there's puddles in the building, you can see wet bare footprints leaving tracks all around the building.
Ew.
And a couple different accounts, because I didn't believe the first guy, and then I read that other people had witnessed it too. that if you're in a room by yourself and you're talking to someone and there's a puddle, you'll hear a splash and look down, and you can literally see footprints form and walk away from you.
I cannot with that. That is terrifying.
So this is kind of buzzkilly, but people also need to hear it. So rumors suggest that the hospital in its prime, when it was a sanatorium, over 63,000 deaths happened at this facility, which statistically was one every half hour, like one death every 30 minutes.
Jesus.
And the number was 63,000 or more. But a lot of people who worked there at the time, and also looking back on medical records, people have been able to debunk that, which sucks because like it's big draws. People are like, wow, like in what, like 50 years of being a hospital, 63,000 people died.
I mean, that does sound like excessive.
Yeah, but it also sounds really haunted, which is why a lot of people freak out about this place.
Sure.
But I have to look in forms, and I can't be misleading people.
You guys, we're a really intellectual podcast.
We have master's degrees
Yeah.
in television, which is why we have a radio show. So
Let's take a moment of silence to cry about that.
let's take a moment of silence for my PhD.
Yeah. And also for my student loans. Okay, thanks. Anyway, moving on.
If you want to donate to our Patreon.
Oh, man, guys.
Okay, so records from the assistant medical director as well as a historian that worked there for 30 years. They both confirm that the worst year for deaths on record was 1946, where 162 deaths were recorded. It was actually 152, but then different files said 162, so it's just like a typo. Hashtag typewriting.
Hashtag, I don't have a funny joke.
Okay. There's no backspace on a typewriter for the millennials listening. So,
What's a typewriter?
right, yeah. So there was 162 deaths in its worst year. So going off of that statistic, the worst case possible was that there was an average of 104 deaths every year, which is around a death every 3 days, not a death every half hour. If you go by the statistics that are in the records, the highest that the death rate could have been was up to 8,700.
That's
It's still 8,700 in 50 years.
That's still a shit ton of people.
Yeah, but so
That's like-
people, but I've seen a lot of like those quick like 30-second videos where they try to like sell you like
Right.
a scary haunted house, and it's like they show you like a couple quick facts. All of them will say like over 60,000 people
Right.
died, and it's like actually over 8,000 people died, which is like still a
It's
lot.
still horrible, but it's totally...
It's only like it's just still a fraction of what they're trying to sell you.
Totally, I get it. Yeah.
So anyway, that's the Waverly Hills
Oh,
Sanitorium.
good. I thought when you were going to say buzzkill, it was going to be like, some people say it was never a hospital at all.
It actually never existed.
Exactly. Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. Listen.
Okay. How long is it?
Welcome. It's not long.
Okay. I'll try to keep it sweet and certain.
Will you?
I'm gonna try.
That's all I ask of you is to keep it sweet and certain.
That's my middle name.
Yeah,
M. Sweet and Certain Schultz.
You're the most sweet and certain person I know. Hey, what's happening to us? All right.
Nothing good.
All right. Here we go. Let's talk about... This is me trying to amp myself up.
Christine's losing it. Do you need to amp yourself up again?
I'm amped.
Pass.
Ready? The cranberry sauce, having mashed potatoes. Ooh, the turkey looks great.
Thank you for loving me.
Thank you for being there. Everyone's thinking. The whole world's thanking you. Thanking us for thanking you. Kill the turkey.
Okay, we're amped. Go.
Gio did not even flinch. Look at him.
It's like I'm fucking over it.
He's like, Christine does this 4 times a day. Okay. This story is about Gregory Scott Hale.
I don't know who that is.
You know how I found him? I went on Murderpedia. There's a list of letters where you can look people up by their letter. Mm-hmm. I clicked on a random one, and then I just kind of was going through, and I picked one, and it sucked. So then I picked another one, and that also sucked. And then I picked this one, and I was like, this will work. I didn't want to like set it up like it was so magical that it was the first one I picked.
No, third time's the charm.
Yeah, the first one I picked was about killing a bunch of American Indians, and I was like, I don't want to talk about that. It's really just not, no, it's not okay. All right. Not that any of this is okay, I want to preface that. All right,
I'll be the one to judge that.
You'll be sweet and certain.
I'll be sweet and certain.
Gregory Scott Hale. All right. On June 6, 2014, 36-year-old mother of 6, Lisa Marie Hyder, was on her shift at the liquor store where she worked in Tennessee. She called her ex-husband, who she was still close with, for a ride home, but he was in another town, so he told her to wait there until he could get back. A couple hours later, when he finally got back to town, he called her, but she wouldn't pick up the phone.
Oh, no.
Not a good start.
She gone.
She gone.
She gone.
She gone, bitch.
And Hood Christine is out to play.
Help me.
Germany's here.
Thank God I edit this, because if other people edited this, I would be so... I think this is why...
I think that's why I let you edit, because I'm like, she's not going to make us sound so bad.
I think I, like, run such a tight ship on the editing, because I'm like, there are things that
cannot be known.
No one is allowed to hear.
Okay, but can you keep that part in, because it was so good? I never hear you say bitch, and it's always a treat. It's always a treat. Because I'm obviously the more crude one out of the two of us.
Well, you're the sweet and certain one, and I'm...
only by day.
I'm the hood one. I don't even feel comfortable saying hood.
Which is why I'm the crude one out of the two of us.
My skin is crawling. Okay. Anyway. So her ex-husband came home finally and spent the weekend trying to get a hold of her because... she was a mother of 6, but she and this ex-husband, they had 2 children together. And the youngest was only a year old, but they talked to their mom every day. So he spent the weekend trying to get a hold of her, and she would never answer the phone. So he was, like, obviously worried because she spoke to her kids every day. A couple days later, police got a call from a man who said his neighbor had asked to use his digger, like his digging
shovel
equipment. No, like a digger, like a...
Oh, like a cat? Like one of those?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
What the fuck? I don't know. The machinery. Yeah, like the...
Construction equipment.
Digger, yeah.
A crane? No, not a crane. Why are we so bad at this?
It's called a digger.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. My stepdad literally owns one. It's called a digger.
I mean, I get it.
Cat
digs.
is the brand, yeah, but it's...
There's another word for it. It's the one that scoops. What is it called?
An excavator.
Yes!
Okay. It's called a digger/excavator. Okay.
Okay.
So a couple days later, police got a call from a man who said his neighbor had asked to use his excavator to hide a body.
He just straight up asked.
He was like, can you help me out? Help a neighbor out.
It's bold. At least he's direct about it. He's like letting you know what you're in for.
Yeah, he's like...
He's not putting any wool over your eyes.
He's not like, I'm planting some petunias.
Yeah, with an excavator.
With
It's a big garden. I have a lot of plans.
I'm planting an oak tree. I have a really big plans for my backyard.
Just wait. Just give me the excavator and you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll know what it means.
You won't be sorry. So the police arrived at the neighbor's home and found human remains on his property.
Yummy.
This guy was named Gregory Scott Hale.
The body.
The guy.
Okay.
Sorry. Let me start that
No,
over.
I think I just heard
I forgot
it wrong.
yeah. Okay, so the police arrived at... So they got this tip from the neighbor. Then they arrived at Gregory Scott Hale's home, who was the one asking for the excavator. They found human remains on his property.
How many?
Let me tell you.
Big plans.
Big plans for his backyard.
By petunias, I meant people.
There's all sorts of fun things under the manure. They took Hale into custody to question him, and he immediately confessed to everything, telling them the gruesome details. It turns out Hale had offered Hyder, who was the woman who worked at the liquor store, a ride home. But instead of taking her home, he took her to his parents' house where he lived and proceeded to murder, dismember, and eat her.
Yummy. Wait, eat her? Mm-hmm. Raw? That's not enough detail.
IDK.
I judge him more if she's raw.
Here's what the police... I know you have a thing about how it's okay to cook bodies and eat them, but...
I don't think it's okay. I just think, like, if you're gonna do it right.
No. That's what I say to that. Here's what the police report officially states. Quote, subject beheaded her, cut off her hands, placing her head and hands in a plastic bucket. He cut off her feet and other body parts, placing them in another bucket, and buried the victim's torso in a burn pile at the residence. Police found the torso without its limbs. And I have a thing about torsos, and I don't know why, but, like, torsos really upset me. Like, there was a thing in Boston.
Like, even when they're attached to people? Like, does mine bother you?
Yeah. I can't stop staring at your fucking torso.
I get it.
Cover that shit up.
I get it. It's big and hairy and gross. It's all.
It's hairy. What if you had a
It's
hairy
just got
torso?
a bunch of furry hair on it. Just a big old just one big hair.
Get your furry, hairy torso out of here.
Actually, I'll find it later.
Do you have a long hair?
Yeah, but like I have like a permanently long one.
Doesn't that freak you out when you're suddenly like, where did this come
No,
from?
but I've had it my whole life. It like literally goes out to here.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's really weird. And then if I pull it or tweeze it, literally like a week
comes
later,
back?
but it'll be back within like 7 days. It's that long again. Like my follicle is just a Superman.
Oh, that's
just,
crazy.
Just goes.
I have a thing about torsos. This is where we began this conversation. Because when we grew up in Boston, someone told a story about finding it. There was like a guy who found a torso in a suitcase. And somehow that upset me so much that it was just a torso with no head, arms, or legs. It was just a torso. Mm-hmm. And something about that like skeeves me out so bad. I don't know why. It's just like
I can understand that. My first thought right away is, did they like, was it someone alive when that got cut off? Because like I wonder, like, did you have to feel it, or are you dead? And like, because it's so much nicer to think you were dead and didn't feel that experience.
I mean, if the head is gone, I feel like you're a goner.
Right, but if you're just finding a torso in a suitcase, like, you don't know what happened to the body.
Well, no, sure, but the point, like, and then someone said, well, wouldn't you rather find the torso than the head? And I'm like, no, I'd rather find the fucking, I swear to God, I'd rather find a head. Something about it, I don't know why.
Like, it makes you look like a snake. Doesn't have the limbs.
Oh, yeah, it's just gross.
Okay.
So anyway, okay. So he also admitted to eating parts of her body as part of a satanic ritual.
Of course, Satan's involved.
He told investigators that he fulfilled an obsession in wanting to kill a person and dismembering them.
Okay.
And he also admitted to eating her. So any guess, this is where the fun interactive part begins. Do you have any guess on...
Choose my own adventure?
Choose your adventure. Who do you think his role model was in all this?
Albert Fish.
No. Good guess. Good guess.
Hannibal Lecter?
Mm-mm.
Who?
Also a good guess. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
He didn't eat anyone, though, did he? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either.
Okay.
But he was sort of like a Satanist or whatever. So he
okay.
like was a quote unquote Satanist. He thought he was the Night Stalker, basically. He followed Richard Ramirez's manifesto to a T. There was a psychiatrist and serial killer expert, which, by the way, like, that's a cool ass job.
Yeah.
Like, if you go on a Tinder date and they're like, I'm a serial killer expert.
Well, that's a hit or miss.
You're right. That could go really wrong.
Like, it could go really well or really bad.
And if it goes bad, you're probably...
But if it goes really well, that's probably the one for you.
Yeah.
I wish I had one of those. Like one of those, like, it's a make or break.
That would be like Mariska Hargitay. But if it goes bad, it's like, you're dead. Probably.
Right. Yes.
Anyway, so his name was Dr. Dietz, and he interviewed Ramirez in prison and said... Hale thought he, too, was a Night Stalker. He identified with Ramirez, looked up to him, and idolized him.
Ew.
I know. He hadn't killed anyone before, as far as they could tell, but Dr. Dietz believed that he likely staged rehearsals where he would stalk women and imagine how it would be to rape, kill, and capture them.
Holy crap. Okay.
And another guy named Dr. Stephen Egger, who's an associate professor of criminology, University of Houston, said that if Hale hadn't been caught after this first murder, he probably would have gone to murder several others and become a serial killer. So he like had everything in the making to become a serial killer. But he was caught. And I think one of the reasons that once they arrested him, I mean, he was dumb enough to ask his neighbor for help in like burying the body. But I think one of the Dr. Dietz guy, he said that he thinks that he confessed because he just wanted the notoriety of being a killer, and he was so obsessed with Richard Ramirez that he was like, I just need the attention of like, oh, this guy murdered and dismembered this woman. Like, he needed that attention and he couldn't wait any longer, you know, and so he just gave himself up. So after they, you know, arrested him, he was put on a $1.5 million bail. Then they started to look into him. Hale's neighbors and associates called him weird and a devil worshiper. Police found out that he was once fired from his job at a meat processing plant / slaughterhouse. after the owner caught him performing a satanic ritual at work.
Yeah.
And coworkers...
Which is probably, like, of all of the jobs, the place that you could get away with it the easiest. Because if you're chopping up heads anyway, you know?
You're slaughtering...
How bad at the satanic ritual must you be to get caught with cutting an animal up the wrong way?
The thing is, like, right, like a satanic ritual is literally slaughtering an animal, and if you work at a slaughterhouse...
It's like you did your job.
You just light a candle and then suddenly
I think maybe that was the trick. The boss was like, you don't light candles when you kill them.
You're not supposed to pray to Satan while
You're not supposed to draw a pentagram on the animal. You're supposed to kill them.
This is a hamburger.
That was I think what he got caught up in.
It must have been.
That was the sign.
God damn it.
Easy mistake. It could happen to us.
Listen,
I draw pentagrams on everything.
it's
you
like,
know?
and you draw a pentagram on the wrong thing, and suddenly you're...
all of a sudden you're a devil worshiper.
Oh my God, it's like...
Honestly, it's rude.
It is. It's like, learn to respect people who are different from you.
Maybe I'm just practicing my shapes.
Yeah. With 5 points.
Did you see that thing about Outback Steakhouse and Penn?
I'm sorry.
I really love Outback
Sorry.
Steakhouse.
Can we talk about this?
I will always find a segue into it. I think it was Outback Steakhouse, or it was like a Walmart. It was like a chain.
We have no more Australian listeners after that one episode, so
No.
it doesn't really matter what you say.
No, we don't. No.
I don't know how we got on that after like a meat processing plant.
I don't remember.
I really don't know. So he was once fired from his job at a meat processing plant after the owner caught him performing a satanic ritual at work. Coworkers remember him taking eyeball, blood, and bones of the animals home with him.
That might have also tipped them off.
It's like, nobody thought to report that? Oh, he took the eyeballs of that cow home.
Yeah.
Okay. His Facebook, so then they looked into his Facebook, and that was also full of disturbing images, creepy comments. He referenced cannibalism, Scandinavian mythology.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Oh, you know, the creepiest of all.
Yeah.
According to his Facebook, he had a girlfriend and a teenage son named after a Norse god. They did not tell me the name.
Who doesn't? I bet it was Thor.
You know what? It
Yeah.
probably was.
Yeah. I mean, Asgard is pretty close, so.
There were photos of him holding... Okay, this is so creepy. There were photos of him holding weapons, like a long blade sword and a mask. And I have the photo for you.
What? Oh, and that's him with a snake,
shit.
too.
I ruined the surprise.
Oh,
That's him holding a bladed sword with a mask.
It's fucking creepy, dude.
That's him holding a snake.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
He looks exactly like the kind of person I would want to take to parties.
He looks like the kind of person that would for sure put a torso somewhere
Yeah.
and ruin my life.
Right.
Okay. One of the photos had... It was like his face, and it had this demonic like face paint with like... I don't even know how to describe it. Like avatar lines all over
Like
his
tribal
face.
print.
Yeah, like tribal lines, exactly, all over his face. In another picture, he's cradling a snake, which I showed you. He had an anarchy symbol tattooed on his shaved head.
Eek.
And then I have some screenshots of his Facebook statuses, because I'm a creepy Facebook stalker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, show me.
Scott Hale, April 10th. This was like right before he murdered her.
Okay.
I was thinking today and wondered if someone was to become a cannibal and eat a vegetarian, would the vegetarian taste like that fake soy meat like they got in some fast food places?
Fucked up, but also an intriguing question.
But also he ate a woman, so...
I mean, I know, but like if we're playing like a hypothetical game, he doesn't exist. Like it's like having a grass-fed cow versus like, you know what I mean?
No, but a grass-fed cow doesn't taste like soy. It's still a cow. It's
Right,
still
but wouldn't,
beef.
like, I
It
know.
doesn't suddenly taste like not meat because it's eating
I know,
grass.
but I do think like whatever human meat tastes like, which is apparently pork. I know it's fucked up, but like just play along. But like, depending on what they eat, I wonder if they would taste slightly better.
I'm sure they
you
would
know?
taste different. It's the same with like cows and stuff.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying.
they don't taste like soy.
No, I disagree with that. I think that's
Right.
too far.
He says
but I
would-
wonder which would taste better.
He said, would a vegetarian taste like fake soy meat? No, because you're eating flesh of a person.
I wonder what the average standard of a human meat would taste like.
All right. Clearly, if anyone's going to become a cannibal out of this podcast,
I would never become a cannibal, but I would love
No. What
to know, like,
No.
just have like an inherent knowledge of it without anyone having
Why?
to do something.
Why do you want to know that?
Just a fun fact.
If you incite somebody who listens to our podcast,
Nobody eat a human.
don't.
I know it tastes like pork
Disclaimer.
That's all that
How do you
matters.
know that?
because enough people have written about it.
This is why I'm turning vegetarian. Okay, next. His other Facebook status from that year was R.I.P. Night Stalker, wish I could have met you, when Richard Ramirez
Yeah, it's fucked up.
died in prison. The video that he posted, look at this. R.I.P. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Rest in peace, Richie. I love you, my friend.
No.
So he quoted that and
See,
wrote,
you make fun of me for shit like wanting to know like random facts about what things taste like, but you think like we're not gonna like get hung up on this?
on what?
This is fucked up.
Of course it's fucked up. That's literally the point of me telling you.
It's fucked up.
But I don't want to experience it.
Okay, fair.
I know it's fucked up.
It's very fucked up.
Me telling you about eating people and you saying, oh, that's interesting, is different from me saying, this guy, Richard Ramirez, who murdered a bunch of people and raped a bunch of people, died.
He's a horrible fucking person. Also, like, the I love you, my friend is the creepiest part.
Yeah, I don't know who the fuck posted that.
Yeah, someone had to originate that for it to get shared.
And then this is one of his quotes. This is one of his Facebook statuses. I hug the people I hate so I know how big to dig the hole in my backyard.
Smart. Like, if you're gonna do it, at least he's thinking ahead.
Yeah, but also don't post it on Facebook. Like, think it.
Right. That's very... Like, he's not thinking that far ahead
No, no,
if
no.
he's, like, outing himself.
Think it in your head and then leave it at that. Be
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, 3 feet
he
wide.
had a plan and then went 2 steps backwards by accident.
And then was like, oh, social media.
Oh, oops.
I forgot. Officers who responded to the tip found 2 plastic buckets filled with human remains, and Hale gave no true motive for the killing. After the police arrived at his house... Oh, no, he told police that after he and the woman arrived at his house, they were sitting around the fire and talking when he decided to attack and kill her before dismembering and eating her and so on. So Lisa Hyder's ex still blames himself, the one who she called who was like, can you give me a ride?
That's fucked up.
I know. He said he was unloading his truck in a different town and wished he could have gotten there a little bit faster. The quote was, usually I rescue her every time something goes wrong. They'd been married for 6 years, but the year before they'd gotten divorced. She had had a long-standing problem with alcohol and was recently diagnosed with ovarian cancer. But her ex said no matter what had happened, he still loved her deeply. And they had 2 children together.
That's really sad.
The youngest was a year old, so it was
Aww.
just like really, really heartbreaking. I remember reading that he actually forgave Hale for his
killing
actions.
her?
Yeah. And,
Okay.
and he said, like, it's just, I'm going to forgive him and move on. Her dad, though, said, my daughter was mangled, butchered, and chopped up like a liver. There's nothing left.
Yeah, I would not be able to forgive it.
And said at this point in his life, he can't forgive him, which... Good for you to even say at this point in my life I can't forgive him. Like, I'd be
that's
like,
too nice.
I will spend the rest of my...
I'd be like, I will find a way to fuck you up.
I would literally commit my soul's eternity to fucking you over.
I'd be like, and here we are. And here we are.
I don't care what karmic, like what I'm supposed to learn in this lifetime. My soul for the rest of its existence would fuck you over.
Yeah.
That's my goal. So her aunt wrote the following words that her cousin, so her aunt's daughter, Amanda, read aloud to reporters. So many people in your life tried to help, but it was not enough. God finally said, enough is enough. He loves you and will now give you the love you have always been wanting so desperately.
Aw, that's sad.
So Hale was charged with first-degree murder and abuse of a corpse.
Okay.
He was sentenced to life without parole after pleading guilty. And he is still in prison.
Well, I wonder if he was going to get the death penalty or something for him to, like, his plea bargain is life in jail, and he's like, I'll take it.
Yeah, well, his family, I guess, or I'm sorry, her family is still, at least when these articles were written 2 years ago, were saying they were fighting for the death penalty. So
Gotcha.
I guess that didn't happen, but they were definitely.
How old is he now? Do you know?
I mean, at the time he was 37 in 2014. So he's, 40?
Oh, okay. So he's got a while.
Oh, he's young, yeah.
Well, have fun there.
I know. I read an article that was like, he could get out, but who knows? I'm like, what the fuck? It's
No.
like the American judicial system. Like, nah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
He satanically butchered a woman. But
Isn't that horrible that some people can go to jail for like 7 years for murder, but then go to jail for like 30 years for marijuana?
oh, yeah, they'll have an ounce of marijuana and they spend the rest of their life in prison.
So stupid.
And their family has to live without them. And then someone puts a torso in a burn pile and they're there for 5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Good.
America.
America.
Red, white, and blue.
I think everyone that doesn't live in America that listens to us is like, we're all better than you, and everyone knows it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
oh, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
So that's that.
So that was a
A whirlwind.
whirlwind.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry.
You know, we really did try to make our stories short this time.
Oh, and boy, did we struggle.
So, we're not going to the graveyard tonight, I guess.
No, we're not going to the graveyard.
Well, thank you guys for maybe staying this long on the podcast and still listening to us.
No one's here anymore.
It's a miracle that anyone listens to us, actually.
I mean, I'm not even here anymore, so.
By the time these come out, I completely forget what we've talked about, and I'm still shocked with everyone else.
Oh, every time I re-listen, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing?
Oh, yeah. All of a sudden, I'll say something random during the story, and I'll listen to it a week later, and I'm like, why the fuck did I bring that up? Now, like, poor Christine has to edit this. But it doesn't stop me, as you can tell from tonight.
We're like devolving into just worse habits.
We're just turning into the worst kinds of people.
Everybody in our apartment is asleep, including Gio right there.
Oh, he's so sweet.
Including Blaze, including Alexander. Everybody's just out.
Including us in about a half an hour.
Oh, yeah, I'm struggling. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We love you. We do this for you.
We do this for you.
I'm such an idiot. We do this
This goes out to all our fans.
I gotta be honest, we do this for us.
We do it for Gio.
we do everything we do is for Gio.
He's so sweet.
Every little thing she does is magic.
Oh my god. I can't tell if that's the wine or the sleep deprivation.
It's a really beautiful mix of both.
Well, if you guys want to follow our absurdity and our obscenities, you can find us at ATWWD Podcast on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And you can email us at andthat'swherewedrink@gmail.com, where you can also send in your listener stories. The next one comes out July 1st. You can also help us a lot at Patreon, which is also on our website at andthat'swhywedrink.com. And
and we just had one of our listeners, Desi, helped us so much by fixing up the website that I made and then kind of fucked up. And she
and
was
then
like,
brought back to life
she
again.
was like, let me know if you need help. I was like, please help me.
Let me know. I'm letting you know right now.
Yes. Thank you for your kind email. Fix everything.
And also the 1st of July is our Patreon donators deadline to get the next round of merch. New things are coming. We have some sort of production meeting coming up at some point this week where we will discuss new fun things for you.
We sure do. I have a list. Also, we're getting all the May donators. We're getting your packages ready right now.
Yes.
So all the May donators, your packages are going out this month. Mm-hmm. The June ones will be going out next month, etc.
Yes. Well, thank you guys. Also, the new blooper reel just came out, right?
Yeah, it did.
It was super funny.
Working on number 3 now.
And
we have a newlywed episode coming out on Patreon.
we do have a newlywed. The birthday one went really well.
That was a fun one.
That was good.
We
finally got to talk about happy things.
I know.
People were shocked by our
It was
reactions.
hilarious.
They were like, oh, you guys sound so genuine and thoughtful. It's like, because we're not talking about murder.
Yeah. People were like, wow, you're so happy. I'm like, oh, I'm glad people are
It's
so
like, we're Geminis. We can do this.
I'm glad you're so surprised at how pleased we are. We're finally not talking about dead people. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And That's all she wrote?
Why we drink?
Oh, that's also why we drink.
God.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
That's why we drink.
Why we drink.
God. Okay, try it again.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
And that's why we drink.
Bye. We did it.
Bye.